You're watching Newsfeed AM. Let's pick up on the markets now, and the local currency starting the week muted. Last week, the rand plunging to a new record low as the government's perceived support of Russia kept fears of potentially devastating action by the United States and the European Union. And this has to do with the Ukrainian allies at the top of investors' minds. Let's talk now to Bianca Botes, Executive Director at Citadel Global. Bianca, good morning to you. Let's begin with the rand, which remains muted at the start of the week. Talk us through those moves and, in particular, the factors likely to influence the currency this week.
Good morning to you and your viewers at home. Towards the end of last week, we actually saw the rand gain back some ground, but it remains in oversold territory as continuous load shedding, poor economic growth, and then obviously our geopolitical stance continues to weigh on the currency. Markets from a global perspective, however, continue to take cues from data. With local GDP and manufacturing production data on the radar this week. And we will also be keeping an eye on the Chinese balance of trade and the US jobless claims to add to that mix of what we can expect. Markets are really looking at this data to try and establish what central banks will do, and in particular the Fed, and whether there is a pause on the cards in the next month or two even. Yeah,
let's talk commodities. Oil prices up by $1 a barrel this morning. This is after a top global exporter, Saudi Arabia, pledged to cut production by another 1 million barrels per day from July. Talk us through the developments there and what they are likely to mean for fuel prices.
Yes, there was a very important OPEC meeting over the weekend that actually saw the Saudi energy minister say that they will do whatever it takes to bring stability to the market. And as you mentioned, they will be cutting supply. However, Russia made no commitment to further reduce their supply, while the United Arab Emirates are allowed to raise output targets for next year. The ongoing demand constraints, especially from the biggest importer, China, continues to put pressure on the oil price. And then this function of interest rates that we keep looking at, so when we are looking at the Fed potentially hiking interest rates even further, that is also putting some additional pressure on commodity markets. So oil really struggling to find its footing, even as supply continues to be cut due to those demand constraints.
Let's talk about the Reserve Bank, warning that local investors may be unable to fill the gap left by foreigners who are going to be dumping government bonds as the economy weakens due to the constant power cuts. Help us understand the trajectory here.
We've actually seen a major sell-off of South African government bonds over the past couple of years, so it's not a new trend. However, we do expect it to intensify as South Africa loses its ranking as a top emerging market investment destination. We've seen a significant sell-off by foreigners specifically, reducing their holdings from 42% in 2018 to only 25% in 2023, which really tells a grim story of our ability to attract foreign investment and really highlights the risks that the global market is associating with South Africa. And that stems from multiple factors such as our continuous blackouts, which result in poor economic growth, but also the recent grey listing and then our perceived stance in terms of our geopolitical policies around Russia.
Let's conclude the conversation with the first quarter GDP report, which is due on Tuesday, that's tomorrow, after a shocking contradiction in the previous quarter. Your predictions of what we can expect from that data?
The economy continues to be plagued by load shedding, dampening our ability to muster growth. That, combined with high inflation and rising interest rates, really puts South Africa in a rather difficult growth position. Consensus for GDP is to expand 1.1% year-on-year for the first quarter. And the GDP growth rate is projected to trend around 1.2% for 2024 and 1.6% in 2025. So nothing to get too excited about. And really what's weighing on the economy is in particular our load shedding dilemma, where we aren't able to produce as effectively and efficiently as we should be able to.
Yeah, it's got to do with fixing the load shedding problem. We shall see what the people that are tasked with this unenviable task are going to have to do in the next few months. Bianca Botes, let me thank you very much for your time.